I'm Andrew Allison. I'm the CEO of Cuvee Collective. Today, I get the opportunity to go work on the Massican wine NFT. I'm gonna go visit Dan Petroski, the renowned winemaker. San Francisco Chronicle rated Dan Winemaker of the Year. Dan has had his wines on the top 100 wines of Wine Spectator's list for the last few years. He's easily one of the coolest, hottest winemakers in the space right now, and just having an opportunity to go visit Dan in the middle of harvest, I feel like he's making a nice exception because winemakers this time of year are so extremely busy. There's many things that make Massican special, but one of the things that makes Massican extremely special is Dan only makes white wines. It's very uncommon for a winemaker to not make Cabernet, to not make Pinot Noir, or some of the traditional reds like Zin. Dan is only making white wines, and it's the only white wine winery in Napa Valley. It's always sold out. Every time Dan comes out with a release, the wines sell out. So just being able to go sit down, have a tasting with Dan, and have the opportunity to go experience some of his wines while he's out there actually picking the grapes for future vintages, I feel very lucky, and I'm hoping to share that with Cuvee Collective. What's up, Dan?
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks for coming out this morning.
Yeah, thanks for making a few minutes in the middle of harvest. So Dan, what are we doing today?
Oh, it's we're pressing off a little bit of Cortese. Cortese is a grape variety from Northern Italy that I'm working with for the first time in a vineyard out in Clarksburg. We're 3 weeks into harvest. We're going through a heat wave at the moment, and so we're starting the day really early. Good, nice, bright sunshine. Let's go check out the press and take it from there.
Awesome.
So right now, Andrew, we are on the crush pad. This is where all the white wine grapes get pressed off. This is our Euro press. This will press off using a bladder inside, where the air compressors you can hear right now is filling up and squeezing the grapes and is extracting the juice. It's very gentle. We do it over a 2 to 3 hour period in order for us to kind of extract all the best aspects of the grape. We don't want any of the harsh kind of press cuts that are going to be a little bit more bitter and inside. So we'll get about 150 to 160 gallons per ton, and that would be the equivalent of about 50, 60 cases of wine. Hey Andrew, come here. Introduce you to my newest grape variety in the Massican portfolio. This is Cortese. Cortese is a northern Italian grape variety. It is a perfect fit for my portfolio. I mean, wow. Massican is full of Italian white grapes, whether it be Tokai, Ribolla, Malvasia, Pinot Grigio, Pinot Bianco. Now we have a little bit of Cortese.
Can I try one really quick?
Go for it.
That'd be great. Oh, wow. Wow, those are awesome.
Well, I hope they become good wine. We'll see.
So all that juice we just saw outside, is this the next step in the process? It's going to these tanks here?
Yes, exactly. So once the grapes are put into the press and squeezed off, we'll pump them straight into a tank. The goal there is to get it all homogenized. We want the grapes to be, we want the early and light and middle and heavy press parts all come together, mix the tank, and then we'll either ferment it in the tank or we'll bring it down to barrel. So something like neutral French oak like this, or maybe a stainless steel barrel. It really depends on the grape variety and the style that I'm trying to extract.
So the idea is to get it all into the same place so that it all has roughly the same flavor. Yep. And then you bring it back out. And so what are you going to put it in as soon as it settles? Are you going to put it here? Or?
Yeah, we're probably going to go right to barrel. So we'll get it into tank, let it settle overnight, go to barrel for fermentation.
So Dan, how long will your juice actually stay in the barrel here?
Massican typically stays in barrel 6 months.
Not long at all.
No, I usually joke saying it's 6 months grape to glass. The reason for that is I want the wines to be young and lively and fresh and vibrant, so I don't want a lot of barrel age. But everything does age and ferment in barrel.
Okay, so interesting. So could we go upstairs and try some of your wine?
Oh, for sure.
Great. So Dan, how long have you been building the brand, and what got you into it?
I started Massican in 2009. I was living in Napa Valley, Sonoma County for 3 years at that point. I had returned. I started my wine career from a year living in Italy, working on a vineyard, and I just had nostalgia and romance for all the white wines of the Mediterranean that I was drinking back then, and I felt the climate here was perfectly suited for, a white wine, fresh, floral, citrusy white wine that would be great on the table. So it started in 2009, very small production, 400 cases. Last year, 2021, I was just under 5,000 cases. I also left my day job last year to pursue this full time. The goal is to get Massican at a level where it's a boutique, precious little business right now, but I want to make it a bigger and broader and larger production so that I can get Massican, on tables all across the country.
When you think about your winemaking process, what made you say, I'm at a point where I should do this full time now?
Well, a couple of years ago, I started doing a little extra content for Massican. I created a magazine. My prior history is in publishing, and during the pandemic, I found a lifestyle magazine that's very escapist. And then I turned into a news magazine. Now I'm writing a cookbook. When I started doing all these things and working with great writers, working with photographers and videographers and chefs, and I realized that I couldn't hold a day job while doing that. And then also, follow my passion for the blockchain and Web3 and building out Massican in the metaverse. And the brand needs to grow so that I can actually finance a lot of these projects. It's not cheap to build in the metaverse, as you know, and as we know at Cuvee Collective. And so I need to double my production. I've gone from 400 cases to 5,000. Now I need to go to 10,000, and I think that'll be enough in the next couple of years to satisfy my growth and development and culture as a brand. I'm fortunate to kind of, through friends and through word of mouth, find opportunities, because I do think that the Italian, Mediterranean white grape varieties are really key to this climate here. I mean, it's really hot, it's very dry, it's windy during the day, and it doesn't cool off till later in the evening. So you want to have something really cold and refreshing. I want to share a glass of wine with you. Unfortunately, we've been talking a lot about Italian grape varieties and Mediterranean grape varieties, but this is my Sauvignon Blanc. It's one of my hard to get wines, unfortunately. It kind of blew up on TikTok earlier this year and sold out in 3 weeks. And I had nothing to do with it, which is amazing. But
Power of the internet.
Power of the internet. What's important to me is to make wine more accessible. I, during the pandemic, did over 170 virtual tastings, one-on-one tastings, FaceTime, Zooms, Google Meets. I did this, I gave my phone number out in my spring release in 2020. It was because we needed to connect. Yeah. It's like that type of accessibility is what I think what I'd like to do with Cuvee Collective and the NFT project.
And I think that's exactly what we're out for as well, is we're trying to demystify it and take the snobbery out of it. But it's always great to learn a little bit about it for those that are interested. But I think we too want wine to feel very accessible. And I think from the beginning, we knew we wanted to work with you, and it's so great to actually be here and doing just that. Wow.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Cheers.
Cheers. After spending the day with Dan and watching the Massican harvest this year, I'm extremely excited to share with the community that Dan's willing to pull from his private library sold out wines. Dan's willing to set aside 2 bottles for all the Massican Wine NFT holders of wines that have been sold out or will sell out, and have anyone that holds the Massican NFT out to any of the wine club and mailing list events that he has this year. So you're getting to exclusive events, and you're also getting an opportunity to get wines that have been sold out. If that wasn't enough, Dan's also willing to have a private group tasting digitally wherever you are. I loved that Dan was willing to be so approachable, because that's what Cuvee Collective values. We want all of our project to be totally open, built in the open, and Dan equally values approachability and transparency, and I think that's one of the most exciting things about Massican itself. I felt so lucky to spend a little bit of time with Dan. Dan's so busy building the Massican brand. He's got a beer label. He's also one of the most sought after consulting winemakers in the Valley. I love that he was able to spend a little bit of time with us. I will cherish that. This is your opportunity to grab a little bit of time with Dan, pick up the Massican Wine NFT on CuveeCollective.com, join the collective. Cheers.